Welcome to Tulum, Mexico. This video is going to take you out for a bike ride through the poor part of Tulum and talk about Tulum's growing pains.
I was just a labor back in 69. Thank you.
Welcome to Tulum, Mexico. We are out for a bike ride here in the poor part of town in Tulum. We rented these bikes for 120 pesos for the day, roughly $10. And during this bike ride, I'm going to give you some background on the Tulum situation, what I am going to deem growing pains right now. There's been a real uptick in crime. And I'm going to try and give you a little background of what's going on in Tulum and what I've heard, and I'm just going to give you some information. Tulum is on the verge of exploding as a tourist destination, and there's a few reasons why it's going to explode. I'm going to say number one, there's a new airport that has just opened. December 1st were the first domestic flights that came into the Tulum airport. March 1st are when the first international flights will be coming into Tulum Airport. And you're probably asking yourself, why would you open a new airport? Well, Tulum has some of the nicest beaches around. Tulum has kind of been a low-key, beautiful beach destination with some kind of boutique, kind of chic hotels on the beach, and has been not a really big, I think there's 20,000 people here, the population. But it is on the verge of exploding. The Mexican government knows it, they see it, hence they've built this Tulum airport, and this place will explode because of its natural beauty and beaches. But we still have this, we have poverty. Tourism is going to go through the roof with that new airport, but also there's something called the Mayan Train. It is train infrastructure that's up and down the Yucatan Peninsula, probably for two reasons. One is to get tourism and support tourism to get into Tulum, Cancun, Playa del Carmen, and other tourist destinations, but also to probably move produce to ports so that it can be taken off around the world. So it's kind of two-pronged, tourism and further economic well-being with trade, let's say. In Tulum here, why has there been this crime surge? Well, people are coming into Tulum, and because they know tourism is going to explode, with tourism comes tourism dollars. Tourists are going to have to stay in places. They're going to have to build some resorts, infrastructure, hotels, and the tourists will be staying there. These places just don't get built. People with money have come in here and they are expecting a piece of the pie. And you might have different factions coming in wanting money. So there's a bit of a battle, and like I said, I think it's growing pains right now. You've got the new airport, the new Mayan Train, you've got beautiful beaches, you've got a lot of money and infrastructure coming into Tulum, and with that, crime. Because people are battling over who's going to control what in Tulum. But I'm also going to read you an article, because what's happened here is 30 more Navy personnel have come into Tulum to deal with this surge in crime. And now, last week, they have started these drone flights trying to find people responsible for this crime. Now, you're probably saying, what sort of crime? Well, there have been murders, there have been rapes, there's been burglaries, and there's been a bunch of drug-related crimes. And I am going to read this little article here about the drone flights that have just started in the last week or so. State steps up security due to ongoing turmoil in Tulum. The state has stepped up security efforts in Tulum yet again after a string of negative events since the start of the new year. In another attempt at law and order, the state has implemented the use of drones in their battle against Tulum crime. Last week, police participated in over 100 flyovers along the coastal area. In a Secretariat of Citizen Security statement, authorities reported 108 drone flights covering 708 kilometers of Tulum coast in search of vehicles known used in crimes. The government of Quintana Roo says around 55 hours of drone time was spent in search of vehicles and motorcycles owned by known criminals. Aerial surveillance is being maintained to reinforce the prevention and deterrence of crime in places with the greatest number of tourist and crime incidences. In January, an additional 30 military personnel were added to the 90 already stationed in Tulum. The additional men and women were brought in to help reinforce security. Since the start of the new year, the popular tourist town has been a victim of several broad daylight robberies as well as shootings and highly publicized drug overdoses. Large outdoor events that have included raves have been the subject of ongoing debate due to the known drug use by Tulum partygoers. In mid-January, after an outdoor event, Tulum residences captured a naked man in a runner's starting position one morning in the middle of traffic. He was eventually picked up by police. However, his naked appearance was attributed to drug use during one of the town's many outdoor events, which is believed by area residents related to the increase in local drug crimes. At the end of December, 2 young Americans were found dead inside their Tulum hotel room that, according to attending medical personnel, were attributed to accidental drug overdoses. Okay, there's the information in the article. We know the following. 1, there's a new airport in Tulum. It's going to be bringing tourists in. Number 2, we've got the Mayan Train. It's also going to be bringing tourists in. With the increase of tourism, they're saying crime has gone up. Now, some of the crime might be because there are different kind of camps trying to take over or be in control here. Because they want to control the money, but it also looks like, as they alluded to in that last paragraph of the newspaper article, is that you've got a lot of tourists coming in here and doing drugs, and they might be overdosing, but they're doing drugs. So all the other articles and all the other information I've heard from whether it be government or journalists is that, number 1, if you're coming to Tulum, enjoy the beaches, but number 1, stay away from the drugs. Number 2, avoid excess drinking. And number 3, do not go out late at night by yourself. If you follow those 3 rules, everybody says it's fine. Okay? Tulum is going through some growing pains right now. This place is going to explode. We're going for this bike ride right now. Will this look like this in 5 years from now? I don't know. But the hopes are, that I'm hearing from so many people involved, is that the poor part of town that we originally rode our bikes through will become more affluent. Sure, the people with money will come in here and they are going to build, but as long as the poor parts of town get jobs, are paid and not exploited, they have better lives, it seems like it's better for everybody. And hopefully the tourists can enjoy the beaches and this beautiful piece of Shangri-La here in Mexico. I want to say thanks for coming along on the bike ride with me. I'm going to say growing pains. I might be back here in another year, 2, 3, or 5 years, and I don't think this place is going to look the same. I just hope that the poor people in Tulum will be taken care of and their lives will be better. And when you look at society, I always say, look down on society not knowing who you're going to be in that society, and make sure you create a society where you would be happy to be anybody in that society. And hopefully that's what happens here. Thanks for listening. Thanks for coming along on the bike ride. I'm going to say ciao for now. See you next time.